What's going on, everybody? Josh Callaway alongside James D. Jackson, Sooners Illustrated and 24/7 Sports at the stadium in Norman, where Oklahoma lost their 2024 and their historical SEC debut to Tennessee on Saturday night, 25-15. Final score a little bit closer than it really indicated. Oklahoma was not really in this game for the majority of it. James, will dive right in. Offense was really bad, and that was the fear coming in. We talked about in the game preview, they were going to get some key guys back. Branson Hickman coming back. Nick Anderson coming back, who went out pretty quickly in this game, restraining his quad. You and I both kind of gave him the benefit of the doubt that with those guys back and another week of practice, he just continued to improve, it would look a lot better. It wasn't. It just simply wasn't.
Yeah.
The offense just was tragically bad. Obviously, we'll get into the whole Arnold, Michael Hawkins thing in a second, but in general, the offense was just inept again. I feel like exactly how we felt after the Houston game. Only difference is that was Houston.
Mm-hmm.
You can get away with it against Houston.
Yeah.
This is Tennessee, is a top 10 team, a team that is planning to be a college football playoff team. What can you say, man? I mean, the offense was this is as bad of offensive play as we've seen at Oklahoma in I don't know how long. I mean, you're talking in terms of decades, I think, and not in terms of years, for how long it's been since we've seen offense this horrific for Oklahoma. It's stunning. What was your reaction up in the press box watching this thing? Because they, until the fourth quarter when they broke in the end zone with Michael Hawkins a little bit, they couldn't move the ball quite literally at all. I mean, that's not hyperbolic at all.
We were just talking about it. I mean, 36 rushing yards is the net for tonight. In totality, with what Michael Hawkins did in that fourth quarter, that's all they got was 36 rushing yards.
Yeah.
They could not establish the run. We talked about it before the game. Is they can't turn the ball over. They have to establish the run. They have to play really good defense. They did one of those things.
Yeah,
and that's it.
Right.
Arnold had a very bad second quarter. I mean, OU gets those two stops, two turnovers that they needed, and it's like on the next play, Arnold gets those turnovers. It gives it right back to Tennessee, so you lose all that momentum because this place was going crazy for awesome. The SEC. I mean, the fans actually showed out. The student section was there. I mean, it looked amazing. OU had all that on its side, but just the turnovers just ruined all of it. I mean, that's pretty much what it came down to, was not being able to execute and turning it over there. Lacking a run game, all that's pretty bad.
Yeah.
I mean, it just did not work out, and Hawkins had to come in and try to do a little different things, use his speed and things like that, his athleticism, and Brent Venables talked about it. I mean, that's kind of what helped out because they still had times where the offensive line wasn't blocking the edge defenders, and then Hawkins had to make a play and was able to do so just because he's a little more quicker. Yeah. And so it turned out well for them in the fourth quarter, so maybe that's something you can build on with going into more in the SEC play with Auburn next week, but it's rough. It was rough out there, Josh. It was rough, and we were noticing. We were noticing it for sure.
There's not one thing to lean on. Offensive line is not good. It's been bad all year. There's no time for whichever quarterback to make anything happen. There's no receivers. We talked about that. It's been a one-man show with Deion Burks. Nick Anderson was finally back, and he was quickly out. He restrained that quad, so he basically wasn't back today. He played very little. Had one target, I think. Didn't catch it.
Yeah, the fourth down.
Deion Burks got hurt. So he goes out. There's nobody to step up. I mean, Jarquez Petaway made some plays late in this game, but the majority, there's no one to step up. They cannot run the ball. You can't run the ball like at a level. I don't even know the right words for how incapable they are of running the football. Like literally, give me a yard, can't get it. Like it's shocking to watch. And then the quarterback play was bad. It was bad. And look, we've been talking about it all year. Jackson Arnold hasn't played particularly well all season. He's had moments. He's had flashes. I've been pretty consistent that I don't feel like it's all in Jackson Arnold. I don't think a quarterback change is going to change a whole lot. I softened on that tonight because he was really bad. I mean, you just have to call a spade a spade. The turnovers are just completely inexcusable. The defense gift-wrapped you a touchdown to tie the game. They gave it to you at the 5, down one score to tie the game. You turn over immediately, like you said, and then you get another turnover, some life in the stadium, and then you throw it backwards on an RPO. And Brent Venables, who's brutally honest, just kind of said, like, that's not even a check in that play.
Yeah.
Like, that's not what he tried to do. Is not. They have a million options of things that you can try to do. That's not even available to them, and he threw it backwards, and there's another turnover. Inexcusable mistakes. They made the move to Michael Hawkins.
The interception on
the interception before all that was awful as well. I don't know what the plan was on that throw. It was way underthrown and late.
My only thing is maybe he just didn't see that the bottom defender, because that the pass wasn't even open, and that was one of the few times that he actually had time from the offensive line. They actually gave him some time. He rolled out a little bit, sat there, and he could have scrambled. He's done really well with scrambling. We've talked about it. If he's a mobile quarterback and running the football, I really like Jackson Arnold as a quarterback. He just didn't do that on that play.
And so all that to say, I mean, it's still his fifth start. I still don't think like his career's over. I still don't think that. Maybe I'm foolish for still having some belief in Jackson Arnold, but they had to make the move. They had to. Michael Hawkins gave him a little bit of a spark, but it was kind of too little too late. And the offense it's more than just the quarterback. There's a lot more problems beyond just the quarterback, but they made the move to Michael Hawkins. We got a whole week of quarterback discourse now as far as who should start against Auburn. But stunning. I mean, I did not come into this stadium expecting Jackson Arnold to get benched tonight. He got benched.
It's crazy because we've been talking about this wide receiver group as well. It's like, okay, it's going to be easy because Jackson Arnold has all these weapons to throw to. Is that all 5 receivers now injured?
The top 5 are all out because we didn't see Angelo Anthony in this game.
Yeah, the top 5 guys are just injured and not available.
It's crazy.
And it's like, how could that have happened? Like a situation like that, we were really high on this receiver group, and they're just not available. Yeah. So that makes it harder. We talked about the timing that these guys have because OU runs a lot of RPO, so obviously timing is a very big part of that. You don't have that anymore. You got younger guys that are true freshmen. Some guys out there. I mean, Petaway, he had a year last year. He had a few snaps here and there, so he has to come back out. Has to make some plays. So it's a little different. Michael Hawkins comes in, and since he's young too, maybe they all just kind of figured it out together. I don't know.
I guess. I mean, again, the running game is crazy how ineffective it is, and one of the only bright spots, when we call it that, has been Taylor Tatum. He gets hurt in this game, and he left. Gavin Sawchuk has not been able to do a thing this season. It's stunning. Mm-hmm. With how good as he was in the back end of last season, 100-yard machine, they haven't been able to get him going even 1%. Javonte Barnes got banged up early in this game, too. I mean, he kept playing. They were rolling with Sam Franklin in this game. I mean, like I said, there's just nothing positive. There's nowhere to turn on the offense. There's not a single bread and butter. At least let's just do that to death. I mean, really, I guess at the end it was just Michael Hawkins scrambling around and trying to make something happen.
For sure.
I'm at a loss. I don't even know what the answers are because nothing has been positive.
Yeah, I can't remember a time where a team has faced this many injuries, like key injuries.
Bro, what is happening? The whole team is hurt.
I don't know. I don't even know how. Brent Miller was asked, what's going on? He was like, I don't even know how to answer that question. What do you want me to
theorize, man? Because we're all puzzled as to. It felt like every snap for a while tonight of guys going down one after another, and the offense is just a shell of what it was supposed to be. Defense lost some key guys too. The difference on the defensive side is that the young guys have largely stepped up and filled those void and have kept up that level of play, whereas the offense, it just the hole just keeps getting dug deeper and deeper and deeper. Mm-hmm. But yeah, they were already beat up, and it somehow got way worse tonight. It's crazy.
And you talked about those injuries. Gentry Williams has been out with his shoulder.
Right.
A guy like his speed would have helped out a lot, especially when OU had those cornerbacks get burned. And then Kendall Dobie had his injury. I honestly, in the press box, we didn't really see what happened, but I've heard from many people that were watching it on the television.
It was right here, 15 yards in front of me. Kendall Dobie's going to be out for the season. Yeah. I feel pretty confident in that.
Yeah, because then they came back and said in the press conference that it was a dislocated ankle, not like a break. So
yeah, I guess I shouldn't speculate too much. It was horrific. I'll put it that way. I think people watching at home, they did show a replay on the broadcast. I didn't see anything in here, obviously. It was gruesome. I'll put it that way. So it didn't look good. At the very least, he'll be out for a while. I think that's fair to say, which doesn't help.
You hope he gets back. Prayers out to him. Hopefully he gets back.
Just sucks
as soon as he can. But yeah, because we talked about it. He's been very good at cheetah for OU.
He's been awesome.
He's been great. He talked about moving to cheetah position after last year, playing it just a little bit. So it sucks for him. It sucks for him. But the OU defense, and as a whole. Even though they gave up 25 points, I just felt like they played really well. I mean, that was the number one offense in the in SEC for sure. But from what they've done,
top 5 in rushing, passing, scoring, everything.
It's just OU defense. I felt like played really well, and just the OU offense just could not help them out. And that frustrating. It can be frustrating at times, and you saw it where the defense started to get a little tired in the second half.
Oh, how could you not?
And so they were giving up plays that they didn't give up in the first half. So I mean that's the only thing that it's rough, man. It's rough, man.
I completely agree. The defense I thought was awesome. They gave them every chance possible to win this game. Again, the strip sack that was RSJ, right? The strip sack Nico down here in this end. Gift wrap touchdown to tie the game. You're at the 5. They turn over the very next play. They got another big turnover later. Nico Liava, I've been practicing all week, and I kind of butchered it there. He really didn't hurt him. I mean, he had a couple nice, like you said, he had a couple over the top. But for the most part, they kept him pretty in check. I thought, I don't have the stats in front of me, but they didn't really run the ball. It's a Tennessee team that's ran for over 300 yards a game so far. I thought the defense was spectacular, as good as you could have hoped, really, honestly. They gave up 23 points. Obviously, take off the safety. We didn't even mention the safety as far as the nightmare. The false start backed him up. It's just one thing after another. There's a laundry list. But the defense overall was, again, as good as I think you really could have hoped. I think if you came in and told Oklahoma, told us, OU fans, whoever, they're going to go up 23 points tonight, I think everybody would have taken that and said that's a good number for this Tennessee offense. And it really, would have been lower if the Oklahoma defense or offense didn't put them in such a tough spot. I mean, it's hard mentally to keep playing defense when the offense is just giving you nothing over and over and over. You have to love the defense. It's really exciting. But it's just the exact opposite of 2018 and 2019.
Yeah.
They can't score points now. It's a special. It's awful. I feel for everyone that supports this team because it's just haunting. But the defense was great in this game.
The defense was, I mean, you could tell they were well prepared for this game. Like, they were not fooled by a lot of things. The two big plays just happened because the guys got over leveraged. That's pretty much it. Mm-hmm. Like, they were in position a lot of the times. The screen passes weren't working for Tennessee. The OU defense was doing very well with the run game, which I thought was going to be a big thing for this game. Stopping, Dylan Sanford, because he's been amazing. 9 touchdowns.
Yeah,
coming into the game. I mean, it's incredible. So I thought the defense played overall really, really well. They were well prepared. Give your shout-outs to Brent Venables and Zach Alley for getting them ready. And, you got to do it on both sides of the ball now. That's pretty much what it is.
We'll see where they go from here. They go on the road for the first time next week to Auburn. Auburn looks terrible. They lost at home to Arkansas today. Their offense is really struggling. You would like that matchup of OU's defense against Auburn's offense, but you don't like any matchup with OU's offense right now. Obviously, Michael Hawkins finished this game in the second half. Did some nice things late. Kind of halfway got him back in it. I don't think anybody ever really was like, but
I was like, okay.
For a second, you're like, maybe.
If they get this touchdown with like 5 minutes left, okay, now it's a ball game because you get the touchdown, 2-point conversion. You're 8 points away.
I think he probably did enough to buy himself a start next week. Mm-hmm. The way Brent Venables talked about it, he said they're going to evaluate it during the week. He was really critical of Jackson Arnold. I suggest people watch the post-game press conference on the YouTube channel now. Gave Mike Hawkins a lot of credit for stepping in. He didn't say it explicitly. I mean, he said that they're going to evaluate this week. I certainly left with the impression it's probably going to be Michael Hawkins next week in Auburn. We'll see. We'll have the whole week to again, the discourse to talk about that. We have a QB competition again in Norman. Kind of feels like 3 years ago. We'll see where they go from here. I mean, obviously it's a long season. Season's not over by any means. Tennessee's really good. Tennessee's a top 10 team. So, I mean, I don't think there's any shame in losing necessarily. The OU was an underdog tonight for a reason, but the offense, I mean, it's hard not to just think, how are they ever going to, how's it going to get better? And we'll see. Maybe with Hawkins in there, I don't know. Where are you kind of at? I mean, spin it forward for us. I mean, where are you kind of at now moving forward? They go on the road next week. The schedule is getting easier. They got more of these top 10 games coming.
Yeah, we talked about it a lot. Obviously, in that first half, I thought there was no shot for OU the rest of the season, but I think from what we saw from Hawkins in that second half and the way the offense started to move a little bit after he got a couple of drives and got comfortable, because he's a true freshman. I mean, he's just thrown in there.
Yeah,
I feel like OU has a lot to build on because of that. And now, we talked about it, one loss isn't the end of the world anymore in college football. Mm-hmm. Like, you can lose about 2 or 3 in this conference and still get into the playoffs for sure. So, I mean, there's still room to grow. As I said, they're going to look at the quarterback competition. So they're going to evaluate a lot of things and maybe start to alter the offense for Michael Hawkins, run those plays that are best suited for him, because right now it's for Jackson Arnold. So we'll see what happens. And for me personally, I'll just point it out, I don't think Jackson Arnold's a bad quarterback.
Right, I don't either.
I just think in terms of this offense and the way it's structured with these offensive line issues, Michael Hawkins gives you the best option because of his ability to he's so quick. He's just quick in the pocket. Yeah. And so if somebody's not blocked, he can make a move and get by those guys. And I think that helps a lot with this OU offense, the way it's currently structured.
We'll see. Brent Venables called it. It was after the Temple game. He said he feels like they're going to need both guys this year. And here we are. Looks like Michael Hawkins probably in line to get a start next week. We'll see if that makes a big difference for this offense that, again, it has more issues than just the quarterback, but it had to happen. They had to make a change and see if it sparked them, and it kind of did. but it was kind of too little too late at the end there. Oklahoma loses their SEC opener. Like you said, the crowd in here was awesome. It was rocking. Best home crowd I think I've ever had in Norman since I've been around. It was on fire, and it kept them in it. They stayed a long time, too. They didn't leave early by any means. They hung on for as long as they could. But Tennessee comes in and gets the road win. Now Oklahoma's got to try and do just that next week on the road at Auburn. Looking forward to that. Going to be a long week around here trying to figure out where the team goes from here. And then bye week and then Texas after that. So it doesn't get any easier. That's it for now. We've only scratched the surface. We'll have the podcast on Monday. We'll loop Tom Green in here, and we'll kind of stretch this thing out. We'll have a rewatch. That'll be a fun rewatch. And we'll break it down and kind of give some more layered thoughts after we get a chance to watch it back and absorb this thing over the next couple of days. Full reaction from Brent Venables, the coordinators, players, all going to be on the YouTube channel. Of course, Oklahoma.247sports.com. Tons of post-game coverage there as well from James, Colin Kennedy, Tom Green as well in the coming days. Myself, as we try to figure out what the heck happened tonight and where Oklahoma goes from here. As they lose the Volunteers 25-15. On the road next week for the first time, we'll head out to Auburn, Oklahoma, against the Tigers. That's it for now. For James E. Jackson, I'm Josh Callaway. We'll see you guys next time as the Sooners fall to the Vols 25-15 here in Norman.